Imagine sitting alone on a cold, empty street, while hundreds of people pass by as if you do not exist. No smile. No word. Nothing. Forgotten by the world. But what if one small child stopped? What if his kindness changed everything? In today's story, we uncover the mystery of the forgotten old man and the kind child, a tale filled with suspense, emotion, and a lesson you will never forget. Stay with us till the end, because the twist will leave your heart shaken and inspired. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories that touch the soul. The evening sky turned orange as the sun sank behind the rooftops. Shadows stretched across the quiet street. Cold wind brushed against the old man's fragile skin. His clothes were torn and dusty. His shoes had holes that revealed his tired feet. People passed him, but no one stopped. Their eyes slid away as if he was invisible. He sat on a broken bench, his hands trembling. The sound of laughter echoed from children playing nearby, but it felt distant, unreachable. His stomach growled, sharp and painful. He had not eaten since the night before. The old man lowered his head. Tears welled in his tired eyes, but he quickly wiped them away with shaky fingers. The world had forgotten him. Suddenly, a small voice broke through the silence. "Sir, are you all right?" He looked up. A child stood before him, no older than 8. The child's eyes were bright, filled with concern. The old man's chest tightened. For the first time in days, someone truly saw him. The boy held out a piece of bread. "It is from my lunch. Please take it." The old man's hands shook as he reached forward. The bread felt warm against his cold palms. The smell carried him back to memories of family dinners long ago. He wanted to speak, but his throat closed with emotion. The boy sat beside him. He smiled, swinging his small legs. "Why are you sitting here alone?" The old man swallowed hard. His voice cracked as he whispered, "Because everyone has forgotten me." The boy's smile faded for a moment. His eyes widened, as if the words pierced his heart. The wind howled louder around them. Even the sky seemed darker. The old man thought the child would run away. But instead, the boy placed a hand on his wrinkled arm. "I will not forget you." The old man's heart skipped a beat. Warmth spread through his chest, melting the cold inside him. But then, something strange happened. The street grew quiet. Too quiet. The laughter of children vanished. The wind stopped moving. The old man turned his head. The other children were gone. The shops across the street stood dark and empty. Only the boy remained. His hand still rested gently on the old man's arm. His eyes glowed faintly under the fading light. The old man froze. A shiver crept down his spine. The bread in his hand felt heavier, as if it was not bread at all. He slowly looked down. And what he saw made his breath stop. The bread in his palm was no longer soft. It had turned cold and hard, like a stone. Its surface cracked, dark lines crawling across it as if it was alive. The old man's heart pounded in his chest. His hands trembled, and the stone-like bread slipped from his fingers, falling to the ground with a hollow thud. He gasped and looked at the boy. The faint glow in the child's eyes shimmered brighter now. His small face was calm, almost too calm for a child. "Do not be afraid," the boy whispered softly. His voice echoed strangely, as though it carried through the empty street and bounced back from the silent walls. The old man tried to speak. His throat tightened. His words stumbled out as a whisper. "Who are you?" The boy tilted his head. His smile returned, gentle yet unsettling. "I'm someone who remembers. Someone who sees what others choose to ignore." The old man's breath grew shallow. The world around him still stood frozen. The street lamps flickered, though no wind blew. Every sound was swallowed by silence, except the boy's voice. The boy leaned closer. "You feel forgotten because people stopped looking at you. But I never look away." The old man's chest ached. He could feel his heart beating against his ribs, each thump louder than the last. His eyes watered again, but this time it was not from sorrow. It was from fear and wonder tangled together. The boy reached for the old man's hand. When their palms touched, warmth surged through his entire body. It was not the warmth of fire or sun. It was something deeper, something that carried weight and meaning. Suddenly, the street flickered like a broken image. For a brief second, the old man saw not an empty street, but a bustling city filled with people. And every single one of them walked past as if he was not there. Then the vision vanished. Only the boy remained, watching him closely. "Do you want to be remembered again?" the boy asked. His voice was soft, yet it cut deep like a blade. The old man's lips quivered. His answer formed slowly. "Yes, I want to be remembered." The boy's glowing eyes narrowed, almost like he had been waiting for those exact words. The ground beneath them trembled. The stone bread shattered into dust, rising into the air like smoke. The boy whispered, "Then you must give something in return." The old man's pulse raced. His hands clenched the edge of the bench. What must I give?" he stammered, his voice shaking. The boy's glowing eyes softened, though the air around them grew colder. "Memories," the child said gently. "Your memories are heavy. They weigh you down. If you give them to me, you will be remembered again." The old man's breath caught. His memories were all he had left. The sound of his wife's laughter. The scent of his mother's cooking. The voices of his children when they were young. They lived only in his heart. He shook his head slowly, fear flickering in his tired eyes. "If I give them, what will remain of me?" The boy's hand tightened on his arm. The glow in his eyes brightened, spilling golden light across the silent street. "You will be free of sorrow. You will be seen. You will never be invisible again." The old man's mind spun. The frozen world around him seemed to lean closer, waiting for his answer. His heart ached with the weight of loneliness. The temptation to let go of the pain clawed at him. But then, a sudden sound broke the silence. A laugh. High-pitched, innocent, and real. The old man turned his head. The vision of emptiness cracked. The other children had returned, running in the distance, chasing a ball. The city sounds rushed back like a tide. Car horns, footsteps, voices. Life returned. The boy still sat beside him, calm and glowing. But now his eyes looked different, less haunting, more human. The old man stared at him, tears filling his eyes again. "My memories are not only sorrow," he whispered. "They are also love. And love is what makes me alive." The boy's glow dimmed. For a moment, he looked almost sad. Then a small smile curved across his lips. "You have chosen well," he said softly. "I do not need your memories. I only needed to remind you of their worth." The warmth surged through the old man again, but this time it felt lighter, comforting. The bread on the ground had returned to what it once was, soft, warm, and real. The glow in the boy's eyes faded completely, replaced by the innocent sparkle of an ordinary child. The old man took a trembling breath. He lifted the bread and broke it in two. He handed half back to the child. "Thank you, for not forgetting me." The boy smiled, bright and pure. "You will never be forgotten again." The old man chewed the bread slowly. Each bite felt alive, filling him with strength he thought he had lost forever. The taste carried sweetness, warmth, and something he could not name. The boy ate quietly beside him. Yet there was something strange about the way he looked at the old man. It was not the gaze of a child. It was deeper, almost timeless. "Why did you help me?" the old man asked softly. His voice cracked, but his eyes were steady now. The boy glanced up, crumbs on his lips. "Because the world is full of people who walk past. They do not see. They do not listen. But one act of kindness can wake them." The old man's heart thudded. The words echoed in his chest, louder than the city noise around him. One act of kindness, wake them. The boy slid off the bench. He brushed the dust from his clothes and stood tall. For a moment, the evening light behind him made his small frame glow like a figure of light. "Tomorrow," the boy whispered, "others will see you. They will remember. Because today you were not invisible. And you will not be again." The old man's lips parted. He wanted to speak, to ask more, but the words caught in his throat. When he blinked, the boy was already walking away, his small form vanishing into the crowd. The old man sat frozen. The bread in his hand was warm. His heart was warmer. For the first time in many years, he felt something shift inside him. Not sorrow. Not emptiness. But hope. He looked around. A passerby glanced at him and nodded politely. Another smiled faintly before continuing on. It was small, almost unnoticeable. But it was more than he had known in years. The old man leaned back on the bench. His chest rose with a deep breath. His eyes closed for a moment as the warmth lingered. The memory of the boy's words pulsed within him. One act of kindness can wake them. The next morning, the old man woke with a strange energy. His bones still ached, but his heart felt lighter. The memory of the boy's glowing eyes flickered in his mind, but instead of fear, he felt courage. He walked to the market square, where people usually hurried past him. This time, something was different. A young woman noticed him and offered a smile. An old shopkeeper asked if he needed water. 2 children ran by and waved at him. The old man's chest filled with warmth. For years, he had lived as a shadow. Now, little by little, he was being seen. As the days passed, more people greeted him. Strangers began to sit beside him. They asked for stories, and he told them about his youth, about love, about laughter. The forgotten man slowly became a voice of wisdom in the community. But in quiet moments, when the crowd left and the sun dipped low, he thought of the boy. The child with eyes that glowed like light. The one who gave him bread when no one else did. One evening, weeks later, the old man returned to the same bench. The air was cool, filled with the scent of blooming jasmine. He looked around, half expecting to see the boy again. And then, he did. Far across the street, a small figure stood, still as a statue. The same child. His eyes glowed faintly, even in the dusk. The old man rose to his feet. His heart pounded with both joy and unease. He wanted to call out, but the words froze on his lips. The boy raised his hand, as if in farewell. A faint smile curved across his lips. And then, just as suddenly as he had appeared, he was gone. No footsteps. No sound. Only the empty street remained. The old man's body shivered, but his heart remained steady. The boy might have been real, or something beyond real. But one truth stayed clear. He had given back the old man's worth. He had awakened the kindness of the world around him. The old man sat again on the bench. His lips curved into a smile. For the first time in years, he was not waiting to be seen. He already was. The days grew into weeks, and the old man's life began to blossom again. He no longer sat silently, waiting for someone to notice him. Instead, he greeted people first. He offered stories, gentle words, and sometimes even a piece of bread to those who seemed lonely. Children gathered around him in the evenings. They listened to his tales of long-forgotten times, tales of courage, love, and laughter. Their eyes sparkled, and their giggles filled the square. The old man felt alive. He was no longer the shadow people ignored. He had become a source of warmth, a living reminder that kindness can spread like fire in the cold. But every so often, he caught a glimpse. A boy standing at the edge of the crowd. Never closer, never speaking. Just watching with quiet eyes that shimmered faintly, as if carrying a secret glow. One night, after telling a story to a circle of children, the old man turned to leave. The streets were nearly empty. And there, by the fountain, the boy stood again. This time, the old man gathered his courage. He walked closer, his cane tapping against the stone path. His breath trembled, but his voice was steady. Why do you come and go? Who are you truly? The boy tilted his head, his small face calm. His voice, when it came, was soft but powerful. I am no one and I am everyone. I am the kindness that is given and the kindness that returns. When you were forgotten, I reminded you. Now you remind others. The old man's eyes stung with tears. His chest swelled with both awe and gratitude. The boy stepped back slowly, his glow dimming into the night air. You will not see me again, the boy whispered. Because you no longer need me. And with that, he vanished into the shadows, leaving only the faint echo of his words. The old man stood alone by the fountain, but his heart no longer felt empty. He turned back toward the square, where the voices of children still lingered in memory. His lips curled into a smile. He was no longer forgotten. And now, it was his turn to make sure no one else ever would be. From that day forward, the old man devoted his life to kindness. He shared food with the hungry. He listened to the forgotten. He became a friend to every child who wandered near. People who once hurried past him now sought his wisdom. They greeted him with respect, and his bench became a place of comfort for all who needed it. Though the mysterious boy never appeared again, his presence lived on. It lived in every smile the old man shared. It lived in every kind act that spread from one heart to another. The old man was no longer invisible. He was remembered, cherished, and loved. And so, the story of the forgotten old man became the story of the kind man. The one who proved that even a single act of kindness has the power to awaken the world. Moral of the story: no one is ever truly forgotten when kindness lives in their heart. One small act of care can light the path for many.